What's up, guys? It is IRGT85. Happy Sunday. We got some foosball happening today, but of course we have video game news to talk about as well, and there's a couple stories going on right now that I definitely want to cover. So if this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, be sure to like and share the video as well. But without any further ado, let's talk about what's going on in the world of video games, and we're going to start things off with Bayonetta 3, because Platinum Games and Hideki Kamiya recently did a little interview with Video Games Chronicle talking a bit about Bayonetta 3 and basically said some interesting things, some things that I don't necessarily quite believe are as they seem with this game, because I think there's something more to this. So of course Bayonetta 3 was originally announced for the Nintendo Switch at the Game Awards 2017, and literally since then we've seen nothing. Even at the Game Awards 2017 we didn't see any of the game in action. We just got a little teaser trailer, much like something with Metroid Prime 4. Well, recently Mr. Kamiya has been a little bit outspoken about this game, and he said the following in a recent interview with Video Games Chronicle about Bayonetta 3. It's more of a not definitely something will come out this year, but if there is a year, then something should happen, right? If you remember last time, I said that even though everyone was talking about Bayonetta 3, maybe you should tell everyone to forget about it for a while. I kind of need to keep to that stance for now, because ultimately, it's not our decision what to say and when to say it. And then he went on to say, as much as everyone is clamoring to see it, we really wanting to release it too. Everyone is working hard on the project, is of course very proud of what we're doing, and wants everyone to see what we're doing. As much as fans are waiting for it, we are waiting for the day when we can show it. We want everyone to cheer us on as we run to the final stretch. We want to show it too. Now, upon the surface level, most people are talking about this story in a manner of, well, Nintendo is holding the game back for whatever reason. They're the ones that are not wanting to show it, as this is sort of a second-party game that is being funded by Nintendo, but being worked on by Platinum Games. But I'm not quite sure I take that same sort of stance, because you kind of got to look at how things have been going on. Now, of course, a lot of people are saying, oh, this is just like Metroid Prime 4, where they showed a Flash logo for it, and then we got nothing from it. But with Metroid Prime 4, Nintendo came out and said that there are development issues with this game, and of course, we are rebooting this game. They did a little presentation, they released a video talking about that. As with Bayonetta 3, it's been nothing. There's not been a screenshot, not been a single video of the game that has surfaced online. And that kind of makes me wonder, maybe it's not Nintendo that's holding the game back. Maybe there's something more happening with Platinum Games, because of course when you look at this stance, it seems like they're pretty much putting the onus on Nintendo and saying, hey, they're the ones that are holding this game back. We want to show you this game, and we want to even release this game. As it says, we're coming down to the final stretch. When you look at Platinum Games, you know, last 5 years or so, it really hasn't been all that great. And I know I'm going to catch some heat for saying that, but aside from Astral Chain, which was a phenomenal game that seemingly came out of nowhere, was announced after Bayonetta 3, released before we even saw any sort of Bayonetta 3 footage or anything like that, it hasn't been exactly, you know, roses and sunshine when it comes to Platinum Games. You can look at Scalebound getting canceled. Like, why would Microsoft get rid of a first-party game, an exclusive game on the Xbox One, when that system really didn't have many? I feel like there's more to that story than meets the eye. Of course, you have the Wonderful 101 Kickstarter situation, which, I mean, I will die on the hill of saying that I thought that was scummy. You know, they opened up another studio right alongside of launching the Wonderful 101 Kickstarter because they needed money to finish the game or whatever. It's like, no, the game was done. Everyone knows that the game was done. And then, of course, you have the whole situation with Babylon's Fall, which this game doesn't look very good. The art style looks drab and boring. And yes, this is a game that Square Enix is publishing, but still, this is a contracted game, much like Bayonetta 3 would be a contracted game. Babylon's Fall does not look like a proper Platinum game. It looks like a mismatch of different ideas that just somewhat come together, but don't really. It just looks like a really strange game. So I'm not saying that Platinum Games is a bad game developer or anything like that, but I think there's something more that meets the eye than, oh, Nintendo just doesn't want to show off this game. And then, of course, you have the whole Tencent thing, which is obviously a big part of Platinum Games now, funding the company and, you know, giving them money. And, you know, that could be a whole nother video about what Tencent is doing, the Chinese overtaking of the video game industry, because Tencent is this juggernaut with tons of money that can just sort of spend it anywhere they want to. I mean, Nintendo put out No More Heroes 3 stuff like way before the game was even revealed to have a release date, and of course the launch of the game in August of this year. So why would Nintendo have more faith in No More Heroes 3 or be more comfortable showing off No More Heroes 3 over Bayonetta 3 when, let's be realistic, Bayonetta is probably a bigger franchise than No More Heroes is, and it's probably going to look a hell of a lot better too. So I don't know, maybe I'm looking too far into this. Maybe it is just a surface level thing where Bayonetta 3 is pretty much ready to go in Platinum's eyes and Nintendo for whatever reason is holding it back. But I think if Bayonetta 3 was ready to go, or at least being able to be shown in a proper state and then was being able to be released within the next few months to a year or something like that, like this game would have been at E3. This game would have been showcased before now, and now we don't know if this game is even going to be shown during this year. I guess there is a chance that during the September Nintendo Direct that many of us are expecting, we could see Platinum Games bring Bayonetta 3 and all is well with the world. But I can't just help but feel like, I don't know, maybe there's something more to the story. Am I getting too tinfoil hatty here? Is it Nintendo just holding the game back for whatever reason? I'd love to hear what you guys have to think about this in the comment section down below. I'm sure it's going to be a somewhat controversial take, but I don't know. It's just something I feel with this game, that something just feels maybe a little bit off. And finally, we are less than 1 month away from the launch of the Nintendo Switch OLED model. That's, I mean, good if you play your Nintendo Switch in handheld mode, because that new screen is going to be fantastic, but beyond that, if you play it in docked mode, you probably don't care about the system. But of course, this will put Nintendo in an interesting position where they have 3 different systems on the marketplace. You have the Nintendo Switch Lite coming in at $200 if you live in the United States. You have the baseline Nintendo Switch that comes in at $300, and now you have the Nintendo Switch OLED model that comes in at $350. But there's been lots of rumors that Nintendo could be potentially phasing out the original Nintendo Switch model in lieu of the Nintendo Switch OLED model. And that's something that actually has been sort of covered and talked about. We've actually talked about it before on this channel, but now we're starting to actually see something going on with the pricing of the Nintendo Switch base model that's actually happening over in France. Now, this information was coming to us from a Twitter account by the name of Nintendo Alerts. They are a verified Twitter account. They essentially are like Nintendo Deals if you follow them on Twitter in the United States, basically giving you guys deals on Nintendo games. And a couple days ago, they put out some information saying that the Nintendo Switch console is set to drop from Monday and sell for around 270 euros. This is the first drop since the release of the system in March of 2017. So they're pretty much saying that there was going to be a universal price drop, at least in France, for the Nintendo Switch base model, and that this was going to be starting on this upcoming Monday. So now all of a sudden they've actually updated this information. I announced it to you before the whole world. The price drop on the Switch is coming tomorrow, and it will even be £249 at some, I'm not going to try to say the name of this place, Leclerc Quimper, and the Nintendo Switch will be available for 249 euros there. And this seems to be something that's not necessarily a sale or anything like that, but this is something that's going to be actually concrete. And going forward in that region, at least at this retailer, the system will be retailing for 249 euros. So people are sort of taking this as 2 different things. Could the Nintendo Switch see a price drop in all regions for the base model in lieu of the OLED model? And I think that's something that's actually realistic for this, you know, something that could just be beyond a Black Friday sale. I think if Nintendo doesn't do a worldwide price drop on the system, that during Black Friday, you will probably be able to pick up this Nintendo Switch standard model for like $250 or $279 in the States. And then that would put the Nintendo Switch OLED in an interesting position, because realistically, it's not really that much of an upgrade. Like, yes, the screen is better on the system and the dock is better with the Ethernet cable built into it, but you could buy the dock separately. Like, really, you're paying for this OLED screen. And if you don't play your Nintendo Switch in handheld mode or anything like this, this just seems like something that's pointless to you. So to me, this is more of Nintendo trying to get rid of stock that they have of the baseline Nintendo Switch and wanting to, you know, sort of phase it out in light of the Nintendo Switch OLED model. And then if there's another Nintendo Switch that comes along in 2022 or 2023, then you could drop this price of of the OLED model to $300 or $250. There's a lot of variables going on here. There's a lot of sort of moving parts that sort of make this a very interesting situation for Nintendo, but I think it's something that's coming this holiday season. You know, it's a great way to spark Nintendo Switch sales if you have a price cut on the base Nintendo Switch model. I mean, it has been 4 years plus now since the Nintendo Switch hit the marketplace, so why not start looking at positioning it more aggressively in terms of pricing, especially when you have things like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, which are pretty hard to get their hands on. Like, this could be a huge boost in holiday sales for the Switch system. I mean, people might even pick up a secondary Nintendo Switch just to get one for the hell of it. So this is definitely a story to keep your eye on, a price drop for the Nintendo Switch base model, because I think there's a lot more than meets the eye with this, and I think we're going to start hearing about this in other regions very, very soon. Alrighty, so that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to let me know what you think of everything in the comments section down below. Am I an idiot? Is Bayonetta 3 completely fine? Or do you think that there might be something more going on with this situation like I do? And the Nintendo Switch price drop, is this something that you think would be smart for Nintendo? And is it something that you see happening this year? Because I definitely do. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like and share the video as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm going to work on my NBA 2K 2022 season on the Nintendo Switch version of the game. Seriously, it's a great version of the game. Check out my video from yesterday. Later.